For this video, I'm going to be diagnosing an issue that I was having with my 2002 Ford Focus 2.0 dual overhead cam. I was working in Charlotte, and on my 3-hour drive back, my engine started to overheat and I actually broke down on the side of the road. It happened really quick. On the computer, it popped up a code 1299, which means cylinder head over temperature. I'm going to go over the steps that I took to determine what the problem is. I already had a general idea of what was wrong with it, but these are still steps to check just in case it's not the main problem. First, I wanted to check the oil to make sure that it wasn't milky, meaning that there was coolant getting into the engine. If that was the case, I would have a blown head gasket that would need to be taken care of. That might also not be the main cause of the problem. Next, I checked under the vehicle for any noticeable signs of a leak. Since the engine ran, I knew I didn't have a crack in my engine block. When the bottom looked good, I checked the coolant level to make sure that it was at the right place. Even though the picture shows it low, it's perfectly fine because the vehicle was at a slight incline, making it look a little bit lower. I still checked all the radiator hoses that I replaced in the previous build to check to see if there was any leaks whatsoever. With nothing leaking, I had two possibilities, a stuck thermostat or a water pump. Since I had just replaced the thermostat a few months before, my guess was on the water pump. The only thing that I didn't replace in my coolant system video. First thing we need to do is take off the coolant tank. It's going to be a 10 millimeter socket. There's one bolt here, and then there's going to be a clip on the back side. Pretty simple to get off. These clips. Pull it completely off. Next, you want to pull off power steering. It slides right up and slides out. You can also pull that off to the side. This gives us access to this whole area right here. Next, you're going to want to take off the serpentine belt, which is done by loosening the belt tensioner. I believe it was a 15 millimeter socket used to rotate the tensioner. You are going to want to jack up the front passenger side of the vehicle and remove the tire for more access through the wheel well. This will make it a lot easier to get the water pump out, considering you have to go through the bottom of the vehicle. Next, I supported the engine with a jack and a piece of wood so that I could remove the motor mount. You do not need to put much pressure on the jack at all. I have a video of how to remove the motor mount step by step in my playlist. Since the engine overheated, I decided to replace my coolant as well. I first drained out the radiator and then placed the pan under the water pump for when it was removed. To remove the water pump, you first need to remove the pulley. There are 3 bolts. I used a pry bar to prevent the pulley from rotating. My niece was asking me to teach her what I was doing, so that's what I did. I loosened up all of the bolts and then she pulled off the pulley. There was an additional 4 bolts to get the water pump off. Once we got the water pump out, you can see that the inside was cracked and not allowing the pump to push the coolant. The shaft would just spin. I ended up replacing it with a Duralast water pump part number AWP9102. Additionally, since the engine overheated, I needed to replace the thermostat. I purchased a fail-safe thermostat with the part number of 7270192 and with a Fel-Pro gasket 35284. I chose this one because it's designed to fail open. This will help prevent you from overheating since the coolant will be constantly circling the system. There is still a possibility of you overheating if you continue to run the vehicle for a long period of time, but this will allow you to get to a safe location before you stop the vehicle. Before you put the new water pump in, you want to make sure that they are the same part. You can see that the Duralast water pump, they changed the shaft design. Once you have determined that the parts are the exact same, the installation is going to be in the exact opposite order. While I had the serpentine belt off, I decided to replace it with a Dayco belt part number 5060835. Next, you will need to replace the thermostat. This was an easy job. All you have to do is take off the hose going to the housing, and there are 4 Torx screws to remove the housing. Pull out the thermostat and install the new one with the gasket. When you are tightening up the screws, remember you are screwing into plastic, so don't crank on it too hard, especially if it's hot. My niece was still helping me and getting more confident with tools, so I decided to give her a little bit more power. She completely installed the motor mount with me talking her through it. Remember, you learn by doing. Squeeze it with both hands. There you go, let it go. Perfect.
So it's kind of hard.
You're doing good though. You got about 40 more turns. You're a good helper.
Now?
No, I said you're a good helper.
Oh, okay. I'm just saying if it's done yet.
Close. You want me to take over?
No.
Okay. Hi, Lola. There you go. I think you got it all the way in. Yep, you did. Good job.
This is kind of heavy.
You did good though.
Okay.
Since I had installed the pump and the serpentine belt onto the engine, it was time to add the coolant. Now with this next step, you don't have to do this, but I decided to do it to help prevent sludge that could have been built up in the engine when the engine was overheated. I ran a quart of motor flush through my engine to help clear it all out. After the flush, I did a complete oil change using Royal Purple 520 and a Royal Purple oil filter number 20400. If you're not sure how to do an oil change, I also have a video of changing the oil on this vehicle on my page. So check it out. You learn as you go. With this, I want to thank you guys for watching. Hope this video was helpful to you. Leave a comment down below and subscribe if you want to see some more upcoming projects. Appreciate it. Thanks.